So when somebody wants to change, you make the decision, that's brilliant. They might make the decision with you, but they've got to prepare, they've got to take action, they've got to set a quit date, and then they've actually got to take it through. People have to want to change, have to know what to expect, have enough information to know what to go through, plans for difficult situations, encouragement, and they have to think there's some benefit. No way are we going to go to the gym every week unless we think there's some benefit. We do not put a lot of effort into something unless we hope something good will come out of it at the other end. If you're studying for a degree, you give up a lot of your free evenings and weekends. You want that to mean something. You want to take it forward and use it for something. That's why you put the effort in. So you've got to, when you want to change, do a lot of processes, and some of this takes time. And it's just understanding that it can be an instant decision to quit smoking, but we get a lot of relapse because as somebody tries to carry it out, maybe they've been discharged from hospital following a stroke, the reality of integrating the change into their day-to-day life is something they have no experience of, and maybe without support are struggling. So what works? Make sure the person has a fair chance to hear the dangers of continuing if you have medical evidence to provide them with. So if you're a practice nurse, if you're working in a hospital, if you're there at all with someone who's being diagnosed or whose test results you're seeing, link it to smoking. There's nothing better than a personal linking to smoking to make someone realise what it says on the pack is what is happening to them. Question could be, do you think there will be any benefit to you in stopping smoking? You want to tell them there's a benefit, but tell them what the problem is and then ask them, do you think there's any benefit? What we're trying to do with people is be very real, absolutely never judgmental. People are caught up in an addiction, many of whom don't believe they're addicted. They believe they have a choice. And it's only when the situations come along that they're not expecting, like maybe they're on a plane that hasn't landed and they're suddenly getting very anxious, that they recognise the stress levels caused by their addiction. If somebody is resisting you, a bit like in my tennis match cartoon, it's a signal for you to change tack. Generally, if someone's saying yes but or arguing or defending smoking, I would turn it immediately into a question. It could be something like, are you planning to be a lifelong smoker? Just very simple, and leave it there. We know from the data here in New Zealand that majority of smokers wish to quit, and a huge number make a quit attempt every year. So most people will say no, and then you might follow that up with, what would have to happen to make you want to stop? So instead of you pushing them to do something now, you're planting a seed and you're shaking their confidence in the safety of being a smoker. Okay, I am not ready, and don't talk to me about it again. And when they get to the point that they say no, they don't smoke, and you can see the cigarette sticking out their pocket, that is actually someone who's very clearly, sort of, as you say, had it up to here with it and might need a different approach. What would need to be different for you to consider changing? Sometimes I ask that and people say, oh, the price would have to double. I say, oh, what do you pay right now? I know what they cost, but I need them to say it. And as they say it, I need them to hear it. And then I say, gosh, what's that a week then? Oh my goodness, what a lot of money. Just not to say any more than to make them realise how much it's costing when someone talks about cost. Don't say, yes, you're right, it costs a lot and you should stop. Because that will get you into tennis. Explain your concerns and leave the door open for more help in the future. Look, I can tell it's not the right time now. That's okay, I'm always here, I'm really happy to help, and I've got some treatment that will make it much easier for you. Come back if ever you want to speak to me about it. It's a total open door. You do that, don't you, with everything? The sort of unsure client. So tell me what things are really important to you about smoking. Start off with what's important about smoking, because it shows you're being non-judgmental and you're not there with a big stick ready to beat them up. Then ask, what is it you don't like about it? It might be the cost, it might be the fact that their blood pressure won't be controlled. It might be their boss is nagging them because they're taking too many smoke breaks and they're away from their desk. What is it you don't like about it? What do you think might happen to you in the future if you don't stop one day? Questions don't always need an answer. You just putting it out there can plant a seed. So that's it. Somebody's actually making plans to change. That's really brilliant. Congratulate them and recommend they use a treatment product. Help them to choose and set a quit date. It's as if they're committing to themselves. And ask them, what are you expecting to happen over the next week? Because what we know is their journey, if someone hasn't quit before, can be surprising because so many stimuluses come in to smoke. They're not actually having a craving because they've got the treatment, but they've simply answered the phone and suddenly their other hand's feeling around for the cigarettes. Or it's the end of the day and they're having a glass of wine and they're looking for the cigarette because that's what they've done for years. And these habits that just give you the extra urge to smoke are a combination of your plans, who's around you, the other stimuluses you have. So, when you've done that, a really important question, and in fact I think this is as important as any other one I've said, what could get in your way? Because we're so keen, if someone tells us they're going to stop, that we go, great, fantastic, here's the treatment, we offer them love and support. But it's very naive because in a way, the thing that's going to happen the minute they walk out your door is some concern about it, or that first 24 hours. So we would prefer them to rehearse a little bit of what could get in your way with you to help them. And you don't have to be the fount of all information. You get them to say, what could you do about it? Who could help you? What support is there available for you at home? So you're helping them rehearse how to overcome their obstacles and concerns before they even leave you to set off on the first day of smoke-free, rather than leaving them unaided to find it out for themselves. Because an awful lot of people relapse in the first week because maybe they don't start the product straight away. Maybe they don't take enough of them. Maybe the withdrawals are different to what they expected and they can't handle it. Sometimes doing anything big and new and complicated is a bit wobbly, so making sure they know where they can go to get extra help in those first few days. I always ask, when would you like to see me again, rather than telling them when I'd like them to. I'd like to see you in the next sort of week, when's convenient for you, but I prefer them to make the commitment rather than being told when to come, because I find you get a high rate of sort of attrition at that point. Relapse is more common than success, so I don't want anyone to think that they have failed. You do a fabulous job every time you engage someone in a conversation. Every time you plant a seed, give yourself a big pat on the back. It's not just those people you help to quit that you get counted as success stories. You are a success with everybody you talk to and have a conversation. And I think that's how you measure your success, because you've had the conversation. Don't hold out for just the people who go 12 months without smoking. That is fabulous, but that's their success. Yours is being comfortable to drop into the conversation and keep it going and revisit it each time you see someone. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is something practical, because I've been talking, Hayden's been talking, and what I've got is a sheet of paper with some very unpleasant things that people say to you. Can you pass those back behind you? And pass those right back as well, thank you. Great, 2 rows back, thank you. So pass them around, and then any back if you've got spare ones on your row. So now with the person sitting next to you, would you plan what you might ask that would keep this conversation going in a positive way, or might shake up their confidence a little bit?